Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer with producer Lucia here on the team. We have some big racing this weekend out at Santa Anita. It's Memorial Day weekend. There will be an extra day of racing. We have a Memorial Day sale all the way through Monday. Check out the Memorial Day sale. And when you add the coupon code, 15% off everything in the DRF shop. MEMD25 is that coupon code. I like to take advantage of stuff I know I'm going to need, like the clocker reports coming up, because I'm going to be needing a lot of help from Mike Welch and from the team of clockers when it comes to Saratoga, when it comes to Del Mar, and a lot of those 2-year-old races. Mike, this weekend on Saturday at Santa Anita, they have some Calbred races. On Sunday, it's the Santa Margarita. On Monday, they have a couple graded stakes races there, including the Gamely. A couple of these fillies and mares are actually cross-entered. I think Alpha Bella and I think Where's My Ring are both actually entered on Monday as well. So I'll be curious to see if they run in this spot or on Monday. The Monday race is much tougher. It's a bigger field on the turf. So in this race, they'll probably have a better shot. And I'll say, there's no real monsters in here, right? It's like a tricky read on this race because I think any one of 5 of them, honestly, wouldn't really shock me. Liberal Lady hasn't run quite as fast as any of the other 5, but honestly, when you get to Princess of Time, Where's My Ring, the 2 Bafferts in there, obviously, like none of them are a standout, but they all kind of fit against each other.
Yeah, I agree. This is probably the better race for the 2 that are cross-entered to take a shot in here. We'll see where they decide to go, Gina, because obviously the race changes a lot if one or both of them decides to run on Monday. Your overall take on this race, though, I think is 100% correct. I mean, there is no standout in here, and there are more than a couple, in my opinion, anyway, including the 2 and the 6, with a lot to prove, but maybe a little bit of ability with both of those fillies.
And what makes it a little tricky as we move to the Timeform US Pace Projector is a lot of times nowadays in Southern California, we'll have small fields and we'll have a couple of Bob Baffert runners that are quick. So you got to kind of determine, okay, who's going to go. I think in this race, the 6 is going to go Seismic Beauty because she's going to try to go 1.125 for the first time. Both of her wins have come right on the lead. And the other Baffert, Splendora, she's been fine pressing and kind of sitting just off. I wouldn't be shocked to see that be the case. But if that is the case, you probably won't have 2 of the faster horses pressing each other. So Seismic Beauty should be able to get things her own way out front and probably cruise along as far as she can take them.
Yeah, she was pretty fast the first time they stretched her out. Yeah, both of the Bafferts, they've spent most of their careers sprinting. Both of them they've each only routed once. But, with Seismic Beauty did show a lot of speed last time, wiring a field, as easy as can be. Obviously, this is a pretty significant move up in class for her.
Start with the 1 Liberal Lady as we meet the field here for the Grade 2 Santa Margarita. This is a $200,000 stakes race. They'll be going 1.125 in here. Liberal Lady just has to get a little bit faster based on speed figures. She does come into this race off of a nice win last time out. She was in the Grade 2 Santa Maria last year. She was overmatched when she was 24-1 and just didn't really fire. Can you build a case for her against this group, Mike?
She's hard to like in this race. I know she's coming off of a career best effort. That was against Louisiana breds at the fairgrounds. So she's moving up in class here. She probably wants to be forward and, is unlikely to be as fast as either of the 2 Baffert horses. I just thought she was hard to make a case for.
That's the problem, right? Trip wise, when you want to get to a long shot, the trip has to make sense. And I couldn't really get there because she's not quite as fast as some of the others. The wild card to me was the 2 Princess of Time, because I think this mare obviously has some ability. Her 3 races on the dirt, she's won 2 of them. I thought she finished a pretty decent 3rd in a race coming off the layoff last time out. I'm wondering, can she step forward off of that? Was that by her speed figure she threw up last time a little bit of an outlier and maybe better than it should have been? I just kind of got through this field and felt like she was one of the more high upside horses, Mike. So Princess of Time, second start off the bench. What are you going to do with her?
Yeah, I don't know. She was a tough call for me, Gino, just because, she's a 5-year-old. She's only run 4 times. So there have obviously been issues here. And, I feel like stretching out is fine for her. When I watched her 2 wins last year sprinting, even though she showed speed in those races, I felt like, more distance might be okay for her. She really stayed in those races. I had to do a lot of work anyway on the pace, then really stayed at the end. Kind of thought stretching out would be okay. I'm not sure if we got the answer to that last time. I know it was off of a really long layoff and she was 3 wide around the track. I don't know. I think she's a really tough call in here as far as more distance goes. And so I just want to wait and see what kind of price she's, because I do think she has some talent.
It's another one with a trip too, where I'm just like,
I know.
she's not quite as fast as some of the others. Can she sit behind them maybe? And if she can and pass, that's fine. She hasn't really proven that to us though so far. So yeah, she's tricky, but you kind of go through the rest of the field like, where's my ring? One of the more talented horses that we've seen so far. She's a grade 3 winner. She's grade 1 place. She was behind Torpedo Anna in the Apple Blossom last time out. Did a little bit of early traffic. She backed off to fourth. She's never going to win that race. She finished in a fine third. She does have some of the better races, though. I mean, last year she showed some ability. So when you're thinking about ceiling, she's probably one of the better ones. And if you're looking at her race against Seismic Beauty a few starts back, that was her first start in a while. That was sprinting, and she's probably better going longer. So the circumstances could be a little more ideal for her on Saturday.
Yeah, that race
Sunday.
off the layout there in February just felt like a prep race, sprinting, and obviously they took her to Oaklawn after that, and she just ran up the score on some overmatched horses with a big figure. So that's obviously a positive sign. She didn't run well in the Apple Blossom last time. I guess you don't have to be too hard on her for that one. I still think she's a tough call, Gino, if only because she had a lot of potential early last year as a 3-year-old. Her Kentucky Oaks actually wasn't even terrible. I mean, she didn't get a
No,
great trip in that race on a very wet track, but man, were her races since then, save the Oaklawn blowout, her races since then have not been that good. So I don't know that I'd be sitting here saying I'm dying to take a short price on her. Although in a lot of ways, I think she's the horse to beat.
Splendora is a horse who will get a lot of money in here, and I just don't really love her at like a short price because
Yeah.
she fits really well. And we're going to show this race where she was second. I mean, she was a clear cut second here to Ricci, and this is another situation where you had a couple of Baffert horses. One of them was out on the front end, the other one was able to sit a pretty solid second. They just kind of ran around the track. So second start back off the break. She's a 4-year-old now with just a couple races at 4. Like a lot of positive stuff about the way she's moving. She's going to be a really, really short price in here. And I don't know if she's that much better than the rest of this field, if that's the case. Like from a betting standpoint, I'm looking elsewhere. She's certainly one that probably the horse to beat in here, though.
Yeah, I mean, she could win for sure. I mean, I'm kind of with you though. I don't think I'd be dying to take a short price. Or I know that she's grade 1 placed in that La Brea, but that's not a race where it ever looked like she was going to win. She finished last in her next start, going 7 furlongs, and then we just showed that replay there. Gino, she ran fine. First time stretching out. I would have been, and obviously you already talked about it. 2 Bafferts, the 3 to 5 shot goes to the lead. The other one sits off it, can't catch her. Maybe I'd feel a little bit better if she made a race of it at any point in there. Gino, she never did.
Alphabella is a grade 3 winner. She just loves to run second, though. In her 21 career races, she's run second 8 times, including in the grade 3 Wilshire on the turf last time out. So for her, she just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct. She's a horse who kind of puts herself in striking range and is fine hitting the board. How do you think she stacks up with this group?
Yeah, she fits. I mean, she stacks up really well in here. But your point's well taken. She just doesn't win that often, and she just kind of is what she is. She runs the same race every time, whether it's turf or whether it's dirt. I don't, like her that much on either of those surfaces. I would use her underneath.
Seismic Beauty rounds out the field. She's never been worse than third, but her 2 victories have been when she's right on the front end. So I'm imagining that's what they're going to try to do with her again today, Mike. She gets the outside draw. She'll stretch out from a mile to a mile and an eighth for the first time. She just seems like one they're going to try to put on the front end and see how far she'll take them.
Yeah, she's bred to stretch out, and so they finally got to do that last time. Listen, I'm sure she wasn't beating the strongest field in the world in that race, but I guess if you're going to face overmatched horses and beat them, you might as well do it like that. I mean, she just took over in that race, opened up on that field around the final turn, and just aired through the stretch in that race. I thought she really moved forward when they gave her some distance to work with last time.
You and I record this on Wednesday. I'm just curious if the morning lines aren't out, how they're going to bet this race, because I
Yeah.
do think any of the 5 horses wouldn't shock me to the outside, like numbers 2 through 6. They're not really separated by a whole lot based on what they've done on the track. I'm curious which of them takes the money, because that's probably how I'd play this race, Mike. Like if I feel like all these horses aren't separated by a whole lot, which of the ones is going to be the horse
Yeah.
that offers us some value? How do you want to stack them up for the Santa Margarita?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You do want to wait and see how they bet this race. I'm really not sure how they're going to bet it. I get that the other Baffert, the one that I don't like, Splendora. I guess that horse, could go favorite in this race. I thought that Where's My Ring was the horse to beat, but I just don't really trust her anymore. And I just wanted to try the other Baffert, hoping they just send her right to the front and she keeps going.
think if I was going to bet this race and looking for a horse to play to win, it would be either of the two horses that we have on top. I'd either think that maybe the 6 Seismic Beauty can
I
just
agree.
get away and maybe be the fastest horse in here. If the 2 is a horse that's sort of forgotten about, maybe there's the most upside with this mare who's only raced 4 times as a 5-year-old, and maybe she has a couple more steps forward she can take. But the key is for all of you, how are you going to play this race in the Sunday race of the day? Remember, you can get free past performances on the website drf.com.